it's not just about having, great investment opportunities. Obviously that's a part of it. We want to, provide as high quality investments as we can to our investors, but there's more to it than that, right? What we want to do is we want to be there for our investors. We want to communicate with them early and often about these investments. For example, what we do is we provide regular content to these investors in the sense of we're constantly emailing them saying, hey, here's what's coming down the pipeline. Here's how to invest. If you have questions about investing using a retirement account, things like that, we're here to kind of guide investors through that process. And I think that's a key part of, turning investors into raving fans, because, it's really building that trust, which is a key factor in it that I've learned over the years. We want to be able to have investors trust us, because at the end of the day, they're putting a lot of capital into our investments potentially. And so we want to be able to say, we want investors to be able to say, hey, I really trust Nighthawk to kind of, have my capital work for me. And, we try to achieve that by, providing regular content, being available for phone calls, being responsive to emails. Yeah, so content is something we're actually looking to ramp up pretty soon. I know in the past, Michael had sent out frequent emails. I would say, on probably, biweekly to monthly basis, basically providing information, to investors on stuff that I'd spoken about before, what the investor pipeline is doing these days, how they can invest, things like that. And so I'd expect that content to kind of ramp up in the near future. Myself, me and Michael, we're working on different ways to get that out, and not just different ways, but more creative content to put out to really aid investors in their financial journey. Right, that's the end goal. We want to be able to not only provide quality investments to them, but also we're teachers, we're educators, and we want to be able to show investors how to invest.
So the way we do it is we kind of batch it up. So David is constantly speaking to investors. He'll get questions, concerns, or whatever. He creates a list from those, and then he says, "Hey, Michael, I think we should talk about these 4 topics." So he says, "Hey, here are the themes." He puts together some talking points, and then we record 4 in a row. 4 videos, and then that's essentially we hand that over to our production team, and they then create the content from that. They edit the videos, they put it on YouTube, they create a blog post, they create an email from that, they put it on social media. So that the level of effort on David's and our part, the capital raisers, the syndicators, the operators, is relatively minimal. But it requires an investment, because I got to pay someone to do all that stuff. We actually literally pay people to do that kind of stuff. And so as a syndicator, as you're getting up in scale, you really have to start thinking around outsourcing the production of your content, not so much the creation, because the creation really has to come from me and from David and from the Nighthawk team, because people want to hear from us. But the production and distribution you can outsource. So if you want to learn more about that, about building an online thought leadership platform, check us out at theplatformbuilders.com or platformbuilders.com. These are actually live workshops to help syndicators who have raised capital for 10x their capital raise. And it's really all about how do you build a thought leadership platform. And at the core of that is how do you actually create content on a regular basis. So content is super important if you want to scale your syndication business.
Right. If you want to go above and beyond and really provide that kind of white glove investor experience for investors, you need to communicate with them. You need to let them know what's going on with their capital, or even if they haven't invested with us, if they're looking to invest, you need to stay on top of things. Let them know, hey, we have a couple deals coming up in the pipeline. Do you have any questions about them? Things like that. So communication is the main thing. Let's face it, these investors they're putting in at minimum $75,000 for our investments. They want to know what's going on with their money. And so as long as we can stay on top of that and communicate with them as much as possible, that's kind of the treatment they're looking for, because again, they're trying to get trust out of it. They're trying to get a sense of comfort knowing that their money is safe with us. That we want to reward investors who are, putting large amounts of capital into our deals, right? It's almost, you can kind of think of it like a frequent flyer type of deal where, the more deals you have, the more money you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it, right? And so it's a little bit of, from the investor point of view, it's a little bit of, incentive for them. Like, hey, I was going to put maybe 75,000 in this deal, but, they've got all sorts of cool rewards here. Maybe I'll put $150,000 into it. So we definitely want to be there for every investor possible. But, there's certain investors who invest with us in every single deal, or ones that put, $500,000 into a couple deals. We want to make sure those investors know, we're here for them. We're going to treat them well. We like to give back. And so for those particular investors, we want to make sure we're rewarding them properly. And that's what the investor club tier is all about.
What's kind of your advice to syndicators as they are interacting with, with investors? What's some of your parting words of wisdom?
Advice for other syndicators, I would say, kind of wrapping all of this up, it's not necessarily about, I mean, one of the goals, of course, is raising capital, right? As a syndicator, you want to raise as much capital as possible for deals, and make your life easier in that way. So that's only kind of one goal that I would say. The other goal is really to provide a sense of comfort for these investors, right? And I kind of mentioned before, that's done via communication. You want investors at the end of the day to say, hey, I'm comfortable giving $75,000 of my hard-earned money to you as a syndicator, right? And you're not going to be able to raise capital without that comfort level, because at the end of the day, that's capital that they worked hard for, and they're evaluating other syndicators, right? I've had calls with investors who openly and candidly said, I'm talking to 4 or 5 different syndicators right now. What sets you guys apart, right? And so it's a tough question to answer because other syndicators, it's possible they offer higher returns, right? It's possible that, they have a pre-existing relationship with another syndicator, things like that. So to set yourself apart, it's really about providing that comfort level to investors so they feel good and safe about giving you that, that $75,000 or whatever it may be.
Yeah, if you want to learn the art of raising capital and you feel mentoring is right for you, check out our mentoring program. It's at themichaelblank.com/mentor. And you can fill out a short form and schedule a strategy session with us to see if that's the right thing for you. Raising money is at the heart of syndicating. And what I love about raising money is that you can do something out of nothing. You don't need your own money. You don't need your own experience. You syndicate, you raise it from people. And the crazy thing is that you're not begging people to give you money. No. You're educating them. You're sharing your enthusiasm about this fantastic asset class called multifamily syndications because it generates cash flow, builds amazing wealth, and reduces taxes. It's just amazing. It's the best investment vehicle on the planet. And so when you understand that, you want to share that with people. And that's exactly what we're doing throughout this process here, is to share that. And that's really the art of raising capital, is you're sharing your enthusiasm and you're educating them. And so that's what we teach at the Michael Blank Brands around raising capital. So if you value mentoring and you want to kind of accelerate the process, scale faster, then check out our mentoring program at themichaelblank.com/mentor. All right, you guys, I appreciate it. Catch you guys next time. Hey, and before you leave, make sure you subscribe to my channel below. We put out videos every single week and you don't want to miss it. Also, if you haven't done so already, grab my free ebook here, okay? It's a secret to raising money to buy your first apartment building deal. It's a good one, so grab that. And hey, check out another video.